Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of News Talk by yours truly, Chris Ado, coming to you from the great state of Texas, precisely Houston, Texas. Thank you for tuning in. I'd like to welcome all of you tuning in from all of Africa, continental USA, including Canada, Europe, South America, the North, the far and the near East, whoever divided them. It's a pleasure as usual to come to you, ladies and gentlemen. Please go ahead, hit your share button if you are joining by way of Facebook. If you are joining by way of YouTube, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and the like button so that you are one of the first to receive our notifications each time we are live. Again, we are live. Today, I am not just live. I am indeed alive. I am alive, as you can see. This is not AI. This is Chris Anu himself, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in again tonight. The overthrow or the dethronement of the Fon of Bangolan is the main story we are looking at tonight. But not only that, Paul Biya is 44 years in power, and there is nothing to show for it. We also will be reminding you America recently upgraded or revised its list of AGOA, American Free Trade Zone. America recently upgraded the list, but Cameroon still left out. These are the subjects we looked at tonight in this edition of News Talk. Please stay tuned. Do not touch your remote. I'll be right back.
The West lectures the world about democracy. Then it bankrolls dictators. It condemns oppression. Then it congratulates stolen elections. In this book, The Hypocrisy of the West, veteran journalist Chris Anu exposes the double standards that define modern global politics. From Africa to the Middle East and beyond, Western powers present themselves as champions of freedom while quietly propping up tyranny in the name of stability and strategic interest. This book pulls back the curtain. Why dictators are rewarded after rigged elections. How human rights become optional when power is at stake. Why some wars provoke outrage and others silence. How selective justice shapes the global order. Written in a bold, direct, and uncompromising voice, The Hypocrisy of the West is not a theory, it is a reckoning. It challenges official narratives, names uncomfortable truths, and forces readers to confront a world governed by convenience, not principle. You should read this book if you have ever questioned why some dictators are sanctioned while others are celebrated. Get your copy of The Hypocrisy of the West today on Amazon. Read it, question everything, then decide where you stand.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once more, thank you for tuning in tonight. I will take you right to Bangolan. Bangolan, for those of you who are not very familiar with the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, or call it Cameroon if you want. Bangolan is one of the villages in Ngoketunjia County in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, and emerging this this Monday, we'll learn from the weekend that the kingmakers of that village formerly dethroned their king, who had taken up a political position in Yaoundé, elected by nobody. I'm talking about picking up the post of a senator in that part of the world. He left the village, resettled in Yaoundé, has not been there for years, and the only excuse he gives for not going back to occupy his throne is that he embraced Christianity, and so there is something not in that doesn't align, according to him. Something doesn't align between customs and chieftaincy, and so, in his own words, he had to focus more on his Christianity, and so the people rose up ladies and gentlemen, over the weekend and said, all right, you have actually moved out of the palace. You are no longer here. You don't live here. You don't visit here. And so we are taking it back. We made you the king. And we can also take it away. And so they took it away. Now the political administration, the colonial administration from the Republic of Cameroon within that community has come in and said what the kingmakers have done doesn't tally with the law. Which law we do not know. Is it the traditional law or the administrative law? We're going to get into that, and that is the main subject of my monologue for you tonight. But let me take you to Ngoketunjia first. You take a look at what took place there from the kingmakers before I bring you my monologue. Watch.
We did try for Duam. We want to pass this message for the Cameroon government and all the funds of the Northwest and the funds of the Southwest and the whole funds of Cameroon. Said today, the 13th of February 2026, the Bangolan community, the kingmakers, the notables, the prince of Bangolan, they gather here today for perform their last cleansing. This stone, where we see for here. Now we forefathers, they plant this stone. Not be only them. They be one plant this stone. All the funds of Ngoketunjia, they be plant this stone together with them. Since the 16th of February 2016, Senator Chafah Isaac, he became for Bangolan with a group of unknown people in the name of church pastors. Come for destroy this stone in the name of being a believer without the knowledge of any notable of Bangolan nor the kingmakers of Bangolan. To us, we see say it be now a group of terrorists where they come for terrorize the Bangolan people. But thanks to the help of our ancestors and the God Almighty, we discover it very fast. And when we discover Isaac Iran go for Yaoundé. Today, now 10 years, where Senator Chafah Isaac never stepped for Bangolan land. And before the drastic measure of Dethronement Isaac, the Bangolan people, the notables and the kingmakers, they will do everything for call you into order for good 7 weeks. Isaac said he not get no time for deal with successors. He be a believer and he no want tradition. As all the Northwesterners, they know, the Fon be the custodian of the tradition. And when you talk say you know one tradition, you get for liver for person where you go do the tradition. You know if first a good meat, chew grass. So Bangolan be persevere. They call it for God. Built by the Bangolan people. This tree, when I see them, all of us when we stand for here, we see this tree and I see them. But now the very Isaac don't send the people, it's terrorists. They come burn them, say one fixed palace. So when the Bangolan people be noticed, say Isaac, you know one for big fun, they say, okay, according to our tradition, before any drastic measure, the one be taken, they go persevere for 7 good weeks. As the 7 good weeks be elapsed, Bangolan people say, okay, as you don't deny, you get for go. And Isaac as he be take military camp back and for we for the Senator Chafah be take military camp put and for we palace. He run go for Yaoundé. Bangolan say, okay, now you don't destroy with sacred places for palace, and we not be use them for now. Bangolan people decide to go for another site where they up hills, take another palace for there. When now for day where the enthroned Fon immediately after Isaac be buried. So when Senator Chafah destroy all these things, Bangolan people decide say they go do cleansing for their palace because the palace does not belong to him. The palace is that of the community. The palace does not belong to Senator Isaac. It belongs to the community. And if you see how all they come stand. So they will start cleansing for here on the 28th of January 2026. Now the first cleansing that way the Bangolan people be doing. The second cleansing it be on the 5th of February 2016. 2026 I mean to say. And today it be the last cleansing when Humba don't take back the palace. For tell Isaac said that palace does not belong to you. Senator Chafah, that palace does not belong to you. Now we on. So, we the talk today say, if we not see this, say they be done dethrone Senator Chafah since 2016. It not be no fun for Bangolan. It's any fun. It's any gathering of funds they be that are meeting among them. Then they are doing that on their own. Bangolan people no recognize Isaac.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I love that groaning in the background there, as if to say, yeah, in the manner of the of the British Parliament. All right, so I will take you to my monologue on this subject, and then I will bring in my panel for tonight to do some justice on this subject, ladies and gentlemen. Again. I hope that this makes sense to all of you, because I have tried to generalize this to apply to every Fon or chief in Ambazonia. The reported dethronement of Fon Chafah Isaac XI, the Paramount Fon of Bangolan in Ngoketunjia County, has sent shockwaves across Ambazonia and La République du Cameroon. It is not merely a local palace dispute. It is a moment that exposes the deep fractures between traditional authority, state power, and a population that feels abandoned in the midst of a brutal and prolonged conflict or war. If the story is fully verified to be true, this would represent one of the rare instances in modern Cameroonian history where a community moves decisively against a sitting paramount ruler. Such events are not common, at least not in Ambazonia. Traditional institutions in the grass fields are historically rigid, layered in custom and protected by centuries of ritual legitimacy. To remove a Fon is not a casual act. It is an extraordinary rupture. The question is what happened next. News reports circulating reference the local press. A video footage which I showed you indicate that a faction of Bangolan's traditional kingmakers performed rituals in the absence of Fon Chafah and declared him dethroned. The reasons cited publicly include allegations that he abandoned tradition, embraced Christianity in ways perceived to undermine customary practice, and relocated permanently to Yaoundé rather than residing in his palace. Those are the grievances we have been told are coming from the people. But are these truly the reasons why he is dethroned? The official reaction from the senior colonial officer, the DO for Ngoketunjia, suggests that the matter is far more political than cultural. In his February 14 press release, the colonial DO declared the dethronement, and I quote, null and void. He emphasized that once a Fon has been recognized and homologated by the state, he is enthroned for life. The colonial DO characterized the dethronement attempt as illegal destabilization. The statement reviews the real battle line. It makes one principle abundantly clear. The state believes that once it has recognized a traditional ruler, that ruler cannot be removed except through state channels. However, ladies and gentlemen, this position fundamentally alters the nature of traditional authority in that part of the world. In the grassfields culture, kings, in their culture, kings and kingmakers, the kingmakers appoint who is the chief. Government recognition historically followed that internal process. It did not replace it. The state did not create kings or does not create kings. It acknowledges them. But the language of the colonial divisional officer suggests something different. That state recognition has become the final authority, even superseding the traditional mechanisms that install the ruler in the first place. This raises a troubling question. Who truly makes a Fon today? The people and kingmakers or the administration? If the answer is the administration, then the institution has already been transformed from a cultural custodianship into an administrative appendage. This is the underlying political context of this Bangolan saga. To understand Bangolan, one must understand the Ambazonian conflict. For nearly a decade, the northern zone and the southern zones of Ambazonia, the southern Cameroons, have endured armed conflict, displacement, military operations, and profound social upheaval. In this environment, traditional rulers have found themselves in an impossible position, caught between an assertive dictatorial central government in La République du Cameroon's Yaoundé and communities whose political aspirations diverge sharply from Yaoundé's stance. Fon Chafah's public statements in past years, including remarks dismissing the possibility of two Cameroons and questioning the feasibility of Ambazonia, were not neutral. They were not neutral. They were interpreted by many as aligning with the dictatorial colonial government's narrative at a time the population is demanding autonomy or independence. In conflict zones, symbolism matters. When a paramount ruler is perceived to align with the state against community aspirations, trust erodes. When that ruler takes up permanent residence in the enemy's territory or capital, far from the palace, far from the daily fears and realities of his subjects, the perception of abandonment deepens. The palace is not merely a residence. It is a symbol of presence, accountability, and a symbol of cultural continuity. Living it during crisis is not politically neutral, especially when you take refuge in the enemy's territory. The allegation that Fon Chafah abandoned tradition for Christianity has circulated widely, but Christianity alone does not dethrone a Fon. Many traditional rulers practice Christianity while still maintaining ritual obligations. Religion, in this case, may only be a convenient explanation. But the deeper issue appears to be legitimacy. In a time of war, the question many in Bangolan may be asking is not whether their Fon prayed in church. It is whether he stands with them at the darkest chapters of their history. The tone of the colonial divisional officer in the Ngoketunjia in his press release, is firm, very firm, even admonishing. It framed the dethronement as a criminal act, refers to miscreants, and promises prosecution. But conspicuously absent is any acknowledgement of community grievance. The administration or the colonial administration does not ask why dissatisfaction reached such a dramatic point to the dethronement of the Fon. It does not propose mediation between kingmakers and the Fon. Instead, it asserts legal finality. The Fon is recognized. Therefore, he remains, according to the DO. This posture reveals a deeper structural transformation. Traditional institutions in Cameroon, particularly in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, have increasingly been integrated into the state administrative hierarchy. Stipends are paid them. Titles are gazetted. Recognition is formalized. The result is a blurred line between cultural authority and political dependency. When the state moves swiftly to defend a ruler against his own kingmakers, against his own people, it reinforces the perception that funds answer upward, not downward. This is the broader pattern. Bangolan may not be an isolated case. Since the escalation of the Ambazonian conflict, many first-class Fons and chiefs have relocated temporarily or permanently to Yaoundé. The reasons vary. Security concerns, they say, political pressure or personal conviction. But the optics matter. When traditional custodians reside closer to the seat of state power than to their own people and villages, questions inevitably arise. Who do they represent? Whose interests do they prioritize? In societies where the Fon embodies the land, the ancestors, and the people's continuity, physical absence is symbolically powerful. It is not surprising, therefore, that Bangolan's events are being watched closely across all of the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. The institution of the Fon was historically anchored in three pillars. Number one, customary legitimacy through kingmakers, ritual authority over land and lineage. Number two, moral responsibility to protect the people. When any of these pillars weaken, the institution shakes. The Ambazonian War has tested traditional rulers severely. Some have attempted neutrality. Others have leaned towards the state, the colonial authority. A few have been accused of silence during atrocities. Whether those accusations are fair is secondary to the perception. In times of crisis or conflict, perception defines legitimacy. If a community believes its custodian has failed to defend it, morally or symbolically, resentment grows. Bangolan's situation suggests that traditional institutions are no longer insulated from political accountability. It is rare for a people to move openly against their paramount ruler or their king. That scarcity makes Bangolan significant. If grievances are not addressed through dialogue between kingmakers, community elders, and the Fon, the precedent could embolden similar actions elsewhere in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. This is not about mob justice. It is about institutional trust. Traditional rulers who are perceived as distant, geographically or politically, may find their authority questioned in ways unimaginable decades ago. The real question emerging from Bangolan is not simply whether Fon Chafah was properly dethroned. It is this: who holds ultimate legitimacy in the grass fields today? The people and their customary institutions, or the colonial administrative apparatus of the modern state? If traditional leaders are to survive as respected custodians rather than ceremonial figures, they must remain visibly rooted among their people, especially during crisis. Alignment with political power, especially foreign political power or colonial political power, may bring short-term security, but long-term legitimacy is earned in the village square, not the capital city. So the question is, what happens next? The immediate future will likely involve legal and administrative maneuvering. The colonial DO has declared the dethronement invalid. The colonial administration may attempt to enforce that position. But legitimacy cannot be legislated into existence. If reconciliation is to occur in Bangolan, it will require more than decrees. It will require listening. The people must feel heard. The institution must feel respected. And the state, the colonial state in this place, must remember that it recognizes kings. It does not create kings or make them. Bangolan is not merely a village story. It is a mirror reflecting the tension between tradition and modern authority or power in a country still grappling with identity, authority, and conflict. Whether this moment becomes an isolated rupture or the beginning of a broader recalibration depends on what happens next. One thing, though, is certain. The relationship between traditional authority and political power in La République du Cameroon will never be viewed the same way again. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my monologue for today. I am being joined from the state of Maryland by three gentlemen who will do some justice to this story here. I'm being joined by Brido Tabenyang. It's a pleasure to have you, sir.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
All right. I am also being joined by the chair of the Restoration Council of the Interim Government of Ambazonia, Comrade Chris Ajua. Thank you, sir, for joining the show.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
All right. And also here with me is the one and only chairman, Elvis Cometa. If you can bend your camera down slightly, please. All right. It's a pleasure to have you, Mr. Chairman.
It's a pleasure, Comrade Chris, to be...
All right. And I will certainly start with you because you happen, though you didn't live there a lot, but Ngoketunjia is your neck of the wood. That is where you originate from. So I will start with you on this subject. You have been following this story, and I'm sure you have had opportunity to have some exchanges with people back in the Ngoketunjia. What is the temperature there, especially in Bangolan and in Ngoketunjia as a whole, with the example that is being set by the kingmakers in the Bangolan? Is it possible this same thing could happen even in Bali Kumbat, and Babesi, and I mean all those bees in the in Ngoketunjia?
Well, Comrade Chris, the case of Bangolan is very unique because the Fon is a custodian of tradition. For him to do what he did, for Fon Chafah to do what he did, yes, he decided to give his life, that he gave his life to Christ, and the tradition cannot, religion does not push aside tradition. But if he felt that being the Fon and all what he was doing, he was living in darkness, and then he gave his life to Christ, as he said, it was better for him to step aside to inform the kingmakers and the Ngumba before doing that. But he just did it publicly, and he even invited women to the sacred forest, as I've been told. He did, in fact, he committed an abomination. And for the people to do what they did, it took a long time, because since 2016, he had never been to the village. Yes, he's living in Yaoundé, even called a meeting in Balmayo, yes, where his people refused to come, apart from his immediate family. Yes, apart from those who are really close to him. Yes. So what he did, it has never happened in any other village in Ngoketunjia. Yes, the Fon, yes, first of all, he's a politician because, yes, as we know, he lives in Yaoundé, and he used to be the head of the Northwest Fons Council. So, like him, like the Fon of Bali, who is also living in Yaoundé, yes, he's a senator appointed by Dictator Paul Biya. So this in Bali is different because the Fon of Bali, he lives in Yaoundé, yes, and but like Fon Chafah, unlike Fon Chafah, he has not given his life to Christ, or even he has not done it publicly. But with what Fon Chafah did, it's an abomination, and it's high time, yes, that the people, the Ngumba and the people in the village do what they have done. It's setting an example to the other Fons. If you want to be Fon, you must stay in the village. The village is, yes, the palace cannot, if the Fon is not there, it means the palace, if the palace is empty, the Fon is not there. Therefore, there's no traditional ruler. No, there's no traditional ruler. If you don't want to be Fon, yes, a Fon is not appointed. No, a Fon, yes, you must come from the royal family. As you know, in Grafi culture, you must come from the royal family, yes, to become Fon, yes. It's not like in other places where they buy chieftaincy or they buy Fons, Fondom, yes, that does not happen in Grafi country. So the Fon, what he did is an abomination once more, and I thank the people of Bangolan for having stood their grounds and for having done for having removed him. And the other Fons, if there are any Fons who are living out of the palace, who have experience, they are living in Yaoundé, living large, and then they claim is because of the Ambazonia crisis, which is fake, because if you are an Ambazonian, if you are Fon in Ambazonia,
The thing will happen.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go on.
your subjects will never attack you, except like what this man has done, because he used to send soldiers. They come to the village, they arrest people, they kill people. Same like in Bali. So these people, Bangolan has set an example, and I hope the other villages follow that example. All of these people who claim to be, who are Fons but who live in Yaoundé, who are politicians, they should vacate the throne. Yes, they should vacate the throne. Thank you.
What are you hearing from other villages like Babesi, Balikumbad? I mean, there are quite a number of them. The Fon of Balikumbad, for example, is it no Balikumbad, right? Not Balinyonga, Balikumbad. Does he live in Balikumbad, or he lives in Yaoundé too? And is he a senator?
Honestly, I don't know about that. I don't know about him. But there is the Fon of the Bali, which is Balikumbad. There's the Bali next to The one who have CPC is the Fon from there who lives in Yaoundé. Yes.
Okay, so they live in Yaoundé. Okay, let me get to the Honorable Chris Ajua, who is very much acquainted with the tradition of the grassland and what is the southern zone called? The coastal what? Something like that. Honorable Chris, when you look at what is happening in Bangolan, in my opinion, this should not only be happening there because when the chief says, when the Fon says he is abdicating his throne because he's not performing his function because of his Christianity, nobody believes him because he is not the first one to be doing this. We have Fons all over. In fact, many people say maybe with the exception of the Fon of Bafut, there is no Fon anymore left in all of Ambazonia. What do you think about this? Shouldn't this judgment be applying to the rest of the Fons in Ambazonia?
Yes, I'm going to back up a little bit and thank our comrade Echu Tabenya and Chairman Elvis Kometa for joining the panel. In a way, I think La République du Cameroon has shot itself in the foot because if what is happening in Bangolan, in Ngoketunjia County continues in other local government areas within their chiefdoms or kingdoms or fondoms, La République is very soon going to be in big trouble because many other call it chiefdoms and fondoms are going to copy this example from Bangolan. And that is where La République is going to start having a lot of problems. You see, La République, because they do not believe in real democracy, what we're seeing in Bangolan is a form of traditional cultural democracy. La République has never believed in real democracy. So all they do is impose, decree. And once the other fondoms or chiefdoms begin to copy what is happening, La République will get to a point where they will begin to find themselves in big trouble. When I talked about La République not practicing real democracy, you see the people at the bottom look up to those at the top, and therefore the people at the top always impose their will on the people. On the other hand, as you can see what is happening, the people in Bangolan and very soon in other chief fondoms and chiefdoms in Ambazonia will also be doing the same thing. They are going to make their funds become accountable. At this point, if you don't mind, I'm just going to make a few more comments about where we ended up with this. We know very well that Chief Chafah Isaac Mbumka was I believe, a strong follower of Prophet John Chi, who runs the Ark of God ministry. And we are not saying that people should abandon. We're not saying that people should abandon Christianity, but a person has the right to practice a religion or a combination of religions that suits them. Our ancestral religions have been on earth for thousands of years, and there are people, as we know, even here where we are in the United States and in Europe, who practice religion, and when they go home for, say, vacation, they go to their ancestral homes, and they carry out what we call rituals at family shrines. It is very, very common. They may say, okay, they are Christians or whatever other religion that they choose, but when they do practice it, if they tell you that they don't, then they are being or they are being a hypocrites. They are simply lying. Now, the the sacrilege that happened in Bangolan, where the pastors came over there and they brought anointing salt and they went to remove foundation stones and things like that, desecrated a palace, a shrines. That essentially was an abomination. When you remove the traditional palace stone and you throw it away, that is very similar to what we hear in the Bible, where the cornerstone was rejected by the builders. So who are these builders? These builders are those kingmakers. The people actually are the builders. And in this particular case, what the Fon did was the opposite. I mean, he actually did throw away the ancestral stone, which is the same as the Bible talks about people rejecting the cornerstone, and that is exactly what is happening now. I want to, Comrade Chris, I want to us to look at certain situations that happen in Libya, particularly in Fontem local government area, way back in the 60s. You remember when John Brain, not John, Robert Brain, the archaeologist, I believe he came from the University of London. I think he was also affiliated with an important school in Australia. I need to verify that part, but I know that he was an archaeologist from the University of London. He came to Fontaine, or let me just say the BLM in general, and he was doing his work, and the people in Fontaine had a problem introducing him or actually admitting him in what we call a fem. The fem is that sacred forest, and that sacred forest is very common in many of our traditions. Probably all over Africa they may have a sacred forest. So it is the sacred forest at a Z Fontaine, which we call le fem. Robert Brain was taken to. I can describe Robert Brain either as an archaeologist or an anthropologist. I think he was actually an anthropologist, although they do certain things that are common. So they took Robert Brain into Le Femme, and what people generally call the Bama people. They were really flabbergasted about the whole situation, and they were wondering whether a foreigner, a white person, would come to Bama land, and people will take him into Le Femme. I know late Pa Fonji, may his soul rest in peace, was a very important advisor or his guide whenever he went out for his research. The matter was eventually resolved. So I just mentioned that to give you an idea about how our people traditionally take these issues about tradition and culture. They take them very, very seriously. Yes, they take them seriously. And what another main problem that the Fon, the Chafah Isaac Mbunka did was that when he was subpoenaed or summoned by the Ngomba, he sort of like just ignored them. Like he didn't take it to mean anything. I believe the main idea was that being supported by Yaoundé and the district officers and the senior district officers, that was enough for him to stay in power. As far as of course he is getting his crumbs of bread from the tables of the ruling party, the ruling regime. I think he feels comfortable. Thank you.
Yeah, Brado, let me come to you. The colonial administration in the Ngoketunjia says the action of the kingmakers is new and void. So essentially, a battle line has been drawn there between tradition and colonial authorities. What do you see happening here?
Chris, thank you, and my greetings to all your viewers and the other panelists. I think this is very troubling, and if it was not the level of traditional sensitivity that the whole issue involves, I would have said the Quifon can communicate with the gods, and the gods could have taken him out. Sometimes it becomes a little bit challenging for you to say we believe in these traditional institutions, the sacred forests, the sacred stones, and then there is this level of desecration of those traditional symbols, and yet these individuals go scot-free. Now, for me personally, it is quite troubling and very concerning with what is happening in Bangolan. There is really, it is a sad day for the people of Southern Cameroon. If you look at the broader scheme of things, you would understand that La Republique has succeeded in completely destroying the core traditional institution of the people of that region. It is unheard of that a time honored tradition and the sacred nature of a Fon, that you have the subjects go publicly and put out the kind of show that we are seeing on the social media platforms. I think we all have to cry in pain. It is pernicious to watch that our people have been reduced to this state of affairs because of the cooptation of our traditional rulers as auxiliaries to the junta in Yaoundé. So we might think that they really care about these institutions. No, they don't. I think their intention has been from the beginning to destroy these intentions. And if you ask me, are they winning? I would think so, because most of our people now have been rendered or left without either the chiefs or the funds. I'm a little bit surprised that Chairman Kometa would indicate that any chief that is in Yaoundé or any fund that is in Yaoundé should be dethroned. No, there are chiefs, there are funds right here in his backyard in Washington, D.C. There are chiefs right here in Washington, D.C. So a lot of them, some might complain about the political situation in Cameroon or the warring situation in the two English-speaking regions, that is Southern Cameroon. But I think that we are going to see a clash of tradition and administrative authorities. It is quite interesting that the Fon himself, who has been dethroned, has not made an official statement since he has been dethroned. I don't think I've heard anything from him yet. The Northwest Funds Council has not made an official statement yet. So it is quite interesting what is going on, but at the same time, sad. I think that it is too early to predict the direction in which this is going. But for us, those of us who are from that region, it is a sad day and it's a sad thing to watch. There is nothing to celebrate in what is happening in Bangolan. In as much as we might encourage the people to take upon themselves to decide their own fate, it is important that we also to understand that when a president is set, even if Ambazonia succeeds tomorrow, these type of behaviors would be an issue that we would have to deal with. So I think it is a day for us to cry for the beloved people of Southern Cameroon that our traditions have been reduced to this state where the people will get so mad with their own leader to the point of going public and challenging that same authority. Because at the end of the day, if you look at the Tikari people from that region, I think even from those of us from the Southwest region, the chief is supposed to be for life. Do they have provisions within the tradition that clearly spells out the process and procedures that are supposed to be followed when people find themselves in this situation. For me, this is not new. The administration has already politicized the traditional institutions of the people of that region. And I think they did this intentionally because they understand that this is what held the people together. This is something that glued the people together. And once that institution has been rendered in the state in which it is now, with dispute, multiple dispute in each of these chiefdoms and fondoms, then there is the open door for them to come in and continue with the divide and rule. Because certainly you're going to now have people in Bangolan who are pro the chief and certainly pro the government, and the people who believe that he has desecrated the traditions of the people of Bangolan and who adheres strictly to the traditions and norms of the people from that region at loggerheads. So I think that it is very important that instead of the government jumping in to speak with the absolute authority that the people cannot, in any way, shape, and form, try to recall their own leader, is unacceptable. But we should not be surprised. Legitimacy cannot be used in the same sentence when it comes to Cameroon. Our people always say the fish starts to get rot from the head. If Etudi itself is suffering from the issue of legitimacy, what do you expect to go down the subordinates and the people that they call as auxiliary to the administrators? Thank you.
Thank you. Let me get to Chairman Komita out there. There are two issues here. Fon Chafah used to be, I don't know whether he is still, no, I think he was removed. He was the chair of the Northwest Funds Association. He was removed. Now you have a situation where this case has to go to the House of Chiefs in Babinda. He was the chair of the Northwest Fund. He is still a member. So tell me, Chairman Komita, who is the association going to side with? The kingmakers? Because in their own fondoms, they know that they came to the throne through the kingmakers. That is what obtains in every part of Ambazonia. So who are the funds going to side with? I mean the funds in the House of Chiefs in Bamenda. Who are they going to side with? The kingmakers who appoint the kings, or Fon Chafah? Tell me, please. Or the government who says we have chosen and appointed our leader.
Yes, Comrade Chris, that's a tough one because, one, the government did not make Fon Chafah Fon. The government did not, yes. It's the people of Bangolan. Yes, he's from the royal family and the people of Bangolan, through the Ngumba, he was enthroned Fon. And with what he did, I mean, he has shown it clearly that he does not want to be Fon again. Yes, by doing what he did, he has clear he doesn't want to be Fon again. So it's not for him to decide, or even the Fonds Council. The Fonds Council, yes, the funds are there, and I don't think any other fund in the northern zone has done what he did. There's no other fund there. Yes. And even you saw even in Biya, where the government came in trying to push somebody to insert somebody as chief. So the people stood up and said, no, we don't recognize this, we don't recognize him. So with Southern Cameroons, the government has to stay out of these policies, out of the policies, because the people in the village, they choose their leader, not the government. Yes, they are there to liaise with the government, but the government should not come and say the government cannot decide who is Fon in Bangolan or who is Fon in Babongo or Fon in Bali Kumbat or Bali Nyonga. Yes, it cannot decide. For instance, the Fondo Ganyonga of Bali Nyonga, yes, who is living in Yaoundé, it's left to the Bali people to decide. If they don't want him again as Fon, then I'm encouraging Ngoba to do what the Ngumba in Bangolan has done. I'm encouraging Ngumba to do what he has done. Because the Fon, yes, I know Brado said there are some Fons here in America. Yes, they are. But the Fons who have left their palaces and are living in Yaoundé and who are CPDM, who work for the CPDM, those are not, yes, the Fon is not supposed to belong to a political party. The Fon is supposed to be neutral. Yes. So if he left his palace and he's working for the CPDM and he lives in Yaoundé, he has turned against his people, sending soldiers to come and kill his people. Those are the type of funds I'm saying they should be dethroned. They should be dethroned. But if a fund is somewhere for economic reasons and yes, and he's helping the village, yes, I'm not calling that type of fund to be dethroned. But these ones like the fund of Balikumba, the fund of Balinyonga and of course Fon Chafah of Bangolan, these people, yes, they have shown that they don't want to live in the palace, in their villages. Yes, they don't want to live in their palaces. They want to live in Yaoundé. So let them still live in Yaoundé, and of course they should be dethroned. One thing is, the government, let me go back to when we had, before the Germans came, you had these funds, yes, especially the fund of Com, the fund of Bafut, fund of Bali, yes, fund of Mancon. These are the fundoms, they are big fundoms, yes. So, but if you look at all of them, all of them, they are pro-CPDM. They are pro-CPDM, and I mean, apart from the fund of Bafut, yes, but the fund of, yes, the fund of Bali, the fund of Mancon, all of that is clear. Those are CPDM people. So, but the fund of Mancon, he lives there. He lives in Mancon. He's not living in Yaoundé like the fund from like the Fon Chafah and the fund of Balinyonga. So, for the Funds Council, I believe if the Funds Council is neutral and if they respect the culture, the tradition of the people, they have to side with the Ngumba, because what Fon Chafah did has not been done in any village or any tribe in the northern zone. So I believe, I hope.
But most of them, one would argue that most of them live out of their communities like Fon Chafah. So,
well, yes, they live out of the community.
And the implication is, if they should do that to Fon Chafah, I mean, yes, tomorrow they too may be kicked out.
Yes,
no, but what Fon Chafah did, the others have not done it. Yes, look at what he did in his, yes. The others have not done what he did in the village.
That's a slippery slope that you don't want to go chasing down those rabbit holes, because you can argue that they are CPDM and they are in Yaoundé. No, there are CPDM right here in Washington, D.C., and they are all for economic. They are out for economic reasons. So I really think that it should not be where they are, but it should be what the customs and traditions of those communities or those fundoms clearly stipulates. In a situation like this, what are we supposed to do? Because in as much as we detest the regime in Yaoundé, we should be careful not to embrace something that would harm us tomorrow. We have to be very careful.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, a president has been set right now, right? You're not going to change that tomorrow if it is somebody in Biya. Yes. And somebody stays in my village and decide to say, you know what, we are not going to support this person, is supporting Christian's government, and they kick them out. Then you're going to have that situation, because once this is said, it's going to be very difficult for us to undo that. The very fact that you can have the people to go publicly and challenge a traditional authority, something that doesn't happen in most of these fundoms, then you should know that we are beginning to have a break from that strict adherence to our traditional norms, which is going to be troubling. That is what I am concerned with.
Brother, how many funds or chiefs did what he did? How many funds or chiefs did what Fon Chafah did in Bangolan?
And that is why I am saying that in each fundom or chiefdom, are there guidelines to follow in this situation, so that we know we are within that legitimacy? Because just emotionally making or taking decisions like this might have repercussions beyond what we are seeing now that everything and everybody is paying attention to it. Once the lights will be off, how do you manage these communities? That is quite important for us to carefully look into situations like this.
Comrade Chris, I think this is where Ambazonia has, I mean, I'm talking particularly about the chiefs, where they have gone terribly, terribly wrong.
Yeah.
Compare what is happening now as far as the chiefs are, the relationship of the chiefs or chiefdoms with the state. Ask yourself a very simple question: how did it used to be when the chiefs had their house in Biya? I'm talking about House of Chiefs in those days. All this stuff where our chiefs, we're talking paramount chiefs, are now answerable to even a divisional officer. In some cases, even a mayor. It was unheard of. They were sort of like the supreme rulers of the land. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the House of Chiefs was sort of like the upper house in
Yeah.
a way,
Right.
because you had the parliament and then you had the House of Chiefs.
Correct.
But look at what La République du Cameroon has turned our chiefs into. Probably all the chiefs in even in French Cameroon, plus Ambazonia. Look at what they have turned them now to sort of like I don't know,
Puppets.
like sort
Royal
of like
beggars.
house to mayors and DOs and SDOs. So a minister of territorial
But
administration will sit in
one
Yaoundé.
thing though, you will observe that mostly in Ambazonia, in La République du Cameroon, you don't go to a chief and talk nonsense. But as an SDO or DO or mayor, they have only desecrated the chieftaincy title in Ambazonia. You go to La
Exactly.
République du Cameroon, don't joke with their chiefs. You don't go to the western region of La République or the north or the south and you joke with a Lamado or Muslim sheikh or I don't know what they call them in the Bolowa and stuff. This thing is happening only in Ambazonia where La République du Cameroon wants to control everything and everybody in Ambazonia.
But Secretary Chris, if you are La Republic du Cameroon and you want to destroy the way and life of a people, and you recognize that this institution is what the people have a sacred adherence to as a core that defines their being, what will you start with? You will start with the destruction of that institution. And that is what they have done. And I see that even these actions today falls directly in that direction, that they would be very, very happy for some of these communities to continue falling apart because that is their intended goal, to destroy these institutions. And they have been doing it like the chairman, Honorable Chris Ajwa, is saying. They have been doing it from time immemorial. And most of these institutions are a shadow of itself. We talking about the Northwest Funds Council. It is a creation of the same regime in Yaoundé. How do you
Yeah.
expect that they're going to act differently?
So essentially, I guess we are all saying here that there is no way the Funds Council in Bamenda is going to side with the kingmakers in Bangolan, isn't it?
Let me also add here. Let me also add here to what Comrade Tabenyang just said. That regional, there is a regional house of chiefs, right?
Yes.
In our zones, correct?
Right.
Who created that?
Yeah.
Who created it is the La République du Cameroon, the Biya regime that created it. And when it comes to elections to get people in there, who controls who is admitted in that council, in those councils, whether in the southern zone or in the northern zone, is still the CPDM. If you are not a strong adherent to the CPDM party, you don't get in there. So it's the game that they have been playing for a long time in order to have total control of our people. It is time for our people to see all these things that are happening, and our people should tell their funds that if you are not going to be for the people and you're only going to be for the party, for your stomach, we will find a way to get you out, to remove you from that position as our chief. That's what the people should do.
Chairman Committee, let me get this question to you, and maybe others may attempt an answer. The kingmakers have said they've cited another palace. They've cited another palace that will accommodate the new fund. Right now, you can imagine the fear in that community with the ultimatum, essentially, of the colonial officer saying what they have done is null and is void and null. What do you think is going to happen with the new palace and the kingmakers in that community?
Comrade Chris, I believe in the ways of the people of Bangolan. The Fon has committed an abomination, and they have dethroned the Fon. Yes, the palace, they have found a new palace, and they have to enthrone a new Fon. Through Atanganji and yes, like Minister of Territorial Administration, they want to control the fondoms. Yes, they want to control the funds and the chiefs. But it will not work in Bangolan. It will not work in any. Yes, it will not work in the fondoms or any chief in the fondoms in the northern zone, because the people, there's the fond. The fond comes from the royal family, and the Ngomba has decided that this man is no longer their fond because of what he did. So I don't think. Yes, I know the government will try to intimidate and try to send soldiers to frighten the Fon and this, but the people of Bangolan, I believe they will stand up and insist that this is their new Fon. Yes, the Ngumba, yes, the kingmakers will throw a new Fon and will go to that palace. And I believe, yes, there will be a talk of war, but finally the government will be forced to. If the population is behind the new Fon, yes, the population is behind the new Fon, I believe. Finally, the government would withdraw and let the new fund continue.
Are there any chances the government may use their police, gendarmes, or soldiers to arrest the new fund for accepting the title?
Well, it's a regime that has no laws. It's possible that will happen. That will happen, yes. But finally, if the people of Bangolan insist, I believe the new fund that will be enthroned will stay the fund. Yes, will be fund. But I know, yes, they will intimidate and send police and soldiers to come and intimidate people. That will happen. Yes, I'm very sure.
Brido, if Chairman and Chris need to contribute, that's fine. But I saw that lots of sacrifice was carried out, the shedding of blood, the blood of lambs, as you saw it in that video. That's a long way that they have gone. Can it be reversed?
It might not be reversed. I think there's going to be some arm twisting. And Fon Chafah himself, if he has ever loved that community and its people, and he had spoken maybe privately that he is no longer interested, this is a time for him to step forward and salvage what is left in that community by officially offering his resignation from the throne, so that the proper processes are followed and a new fund be enthroned. Because I think he is going to be key. If he doesn't put any fight, then the government is not going to have any choice but to go along with what the people have decided to do. But if he's going to be recalcitrant and stubborn, just like the government in Yaoundé, then we're going to have a fight in our hands. Will they succeed to intimidate the people? But we have seen, maybe not to overstretch it, here in Minnesota, that when the people stand up collectively, then it is hard for the government to suppress their demands and their aspirations. So if it's what the people of Bangolan believe that this is the right thing to do, and it is a collective decision from the elders and the people from that community, then I think they stand a chance to see it to the end, because definitely they're going to pick the ringleaders and try to suppress the other voices. But if Fon Chafah strongly believe that he has converted to Christianity and it is in conflict with his traditional rulership or authority, then he should save the people and come out and speak openly and bless the people of that community to proceed with the next fund for that for the people of Bangolan.
Yeah, Comrade Tamenyang, in that sense, regardless of what La République du Cameroon does, they lose. They lose because if the fund says I don't want the position anymore, no matter what, the issue about the activities of the Ngomba being null and void doesn't really matter anymore. It becomes a moot question. So the Republic cannot win in this particular case. No, in this particular situation, they cannot win, no matter how you look at it.
It's quite interesting. We will wait and see what happens there and see what precedents it sets, especially at this time with the Ambazonian conflict. Chairman, is
and if La Republic tries to impose another chief that the people do not want, they will not accept him. They will not accept him. That's where the trouble really begins. When La Republic wants to impose somebody else. Yes, sir.
Chairman, are you oblivious that La Republic really doesn't care what the people want? The guy in Yaoundé will not be there. People don't want him, but he's there. So long as it's what is convenient for them, they really don't care about legitimacy.
No, they will appoint somebody, but the people will reject that person. That's what will eventually happen.
But this is the point. If Fon Chafah says, you know what, I just want to focus in following my God. You guys can go ahead and appoint your new fund. He makes things easier for the people and the colonial administration, right?
Yeah.
So he is key.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we're going to wait to see what he comes up with, because so far he hasn't said anything. I have not heard anything from him. I saw a celebration in Yaoundé. I don't know whether that was recently, but he was essentially dancing with his people. I don't know how recent it was, but he hasn't really said anything about this action by his people.
The notables from Ngoketunjia, like a chairman, should try to talk sense to him. There is no need to try to antagonize him. I think Karma heads should try to reach out to him and make sure that that community is safe from this public disgrace that they are subjecting the entire people of the Southern Cameroons, because those are not our norms when it comes to us dealing with our traditional authorities.
I think it was Honorable Chris as well who raised the question of so many other Ambazonian Southern Cameroon chiefs living in the diaspora, especially here in the U.S. I remember somebody posed a question I remember somebody posed a question to my own phone in the BLM. Why he was appointing, he got into the habit of appointing so many chiefs. And you know his response was, what do you want me to do? When they are made chief, they run to America, they leave. What do you want me to do? You want me to stay here without chiefs? So should all these chiefs in America be banned or be banned from their communities and new chiefs appointed over?
Well, Comrade Chris, in the northern zone, the fondoms and the chiefdoms, it's different. You are not appointed. You come from the royal family and you are enthroned by the kingmakers. Yes, it's very different. I mean, yes, the fonds they will appoint notables. Yes, appoint notables, Yes, but they will not. Yes, they will not appoint a chief or not appoint a chief or another fund. They will not in the northern zone. That does not happen. So, Chief Fon Chafah, who yes, he is a believer now, and to him, the ways of his people, the ways of Bangolan people are evil. Yes, yes, they are no longer his ways. So we hope, as Comrade Brado said, he will come out openly and said, please, yes,
Do the right thing.
I want to serve my God. So I don't. Yes, I'm not interested in being the phone again. So let somebody take over. Yes, yes, especially if he feels for his people, because we know the regime in Yaoundé, how dictatorial it is. Yes, they will send big soldiers, gendarmes to intimidate people and beat and maybe kill people. Yes, so we hope he does that if he really loves his people.
All right, all right. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's move to another subject. Paul Biya clocked 44 years in power last weekend. Remember, he took office 1982, and this is 2026. That is 44 years. 44 years in power. The problem is that he has nothing to show for 44 years in office. What that nation looks like today cannot be compared to what it was when Paul Biya took over. At least I remember. There were roads. Electricity could hardly go off until 19, I think I left Cameroon in 1992. You could trust and depend on electricity. But today, if you have electricity in your house at any given time for 24 hours, you pray and you thank God. There are no roads, there are no schools. When the government decree schools, I'm talking about elementary schools, when the government decree elementary schools, the parent teachers build the schools. The parent teachers recruit the teachers and they pay the teachers. The parent teachers, they do everything. There are no hospitals. Those that exist, the doctors are hired by the people in the community, not by the government that builds the hospital. Everywhere it is like that. But Biya has also created a war that was never supposed to be. I'm sure that some of you have read the memo which I sent out to the media in La Republique, especially the Guardian Post. But I stated in that memo that Biya caused the war. He actually announced it on November 30th, 2017, returning from the joint AU-EU summit in Côte d'Ivoire. That is one of the things that his 44 years in power has achieved. It has taken Cameroon backward to far beyond what he inherited. So I'd like us to take a look at some of the images coming from his celebration. One thing that I am wondering here, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to show you guys this photo. You tell me, this doesn't look at the picture on your right and look at the picture on your left. Is that Paul Biya on your right? No, you guys tell me, is that Paul Biya on your right? Look at it very well. The picture on the right is supposed to be the picture from the birthday celebration. The one on the left is supposed to be an older photo taken on a different occasion. But the picture on your right looks far younger, and yet this event is supposed to have taken place, I think, Saturday. And the picture on your left is supposed to be an older photo. But I don't understand why the one on the right looks quite younger. Now you look at another photo, the same photo of the weekend celebration. You see there Biya with a wife and Ngongo. Now let's take out this title or this graphic on the screen and see something there. You see Chantal grabbing Ngongo by the hand, and next to her the husband. I don't know again whether that is Paul Biya, gentlemen. You guys may help me there. But you see, it looks in this photo like Ngongo is a husband, and the man next to Shatta is a friend or something like that. It doesn't look like a husband by appearance and by the optics that we see there. You guys will tell me who is it. So let me guys give it. Let me let you guys decode what I'm seeing here. Is this Biya in this photo? Brother, let me start with you, please.
Well, it's not Biya alone. There are three of them, right? So
there are three of them. You have, you see, there is Shanta there is Ngongo there, and the person on the left, on the extreme left, supposed to be Biya. But again, if you look at this other photo here, look at Biya in the previous photo on a different occasion. He looks older compared to this image with him and the wife, supposed to have been taken last Saturday. But he looks quite younger.
Let me jump in here.
Again,
let me jump in here.
We will be getting into trivialities when we look at these images. Is he still there?
I know, right?
Yes. And then
I think
most of the time during your birthday, you look good. You don't know whether they brought a mortician there, and the mortician did some work on his face. So anything is possible. When you go to a funeral home and you see sometime when somebody's dead and the mortician works on them, they become even younger. So for me, the most important thing with the bad situation that is happening in that country is the state of affairs. Not even his physical looks or anything, or whether Shanta is having anything to do with Ngongo or not. I think what concerns people from that country is the deplorable state of the affairs in that country. The shame that has been brought upon that country for the last 44 years. Like you pointed, there is really nothing to show. Sometimes I even joke that the only thing he has to show is for those of us who are here in the diaspora, because if he was not that bad, most of us would still be there in that country. And that has also given us, for those of us from southern Cameroon, the determination to continue to fight, because if all of us were down there, maybe they could have already shot everybody down. So that, for me, that's what he has done that is good for us. But as far as the substantive achievement for the past 44 years, I think I will be remiss to say that you can point to any aspect of Cameroonian life that Biya has made any mark change or improvements. If you talk about the school, sometimes you don't also blame him, because it's the same these communities who go there and ask for a school. They know that just sign it with a degree and then they take it over. If those things were not being done, and the remittances that are coming from those of us in the diaspora were not there to sustain that the people from our villages in the cities, and practically most of the economy of that country, there would have been disintegration a long time ago. So I think that our conversation should mostly focus on his achievement. What is the first vision that he has put forward in the next 7 years? When is he going to do a cabinet reshufflement, if he's actually going to do one? What is holding up? What are the challenges that the people are facing? The issue about his picture and the way he looks, everybody knows that he's still alive. If he's not dead and I see him put in the public, I would always know that he is still there, whether he's absent-minded, partially incapacitated, mentally unstable. He is still the one that the international community recognizes as the president of Cameroon.
No, you are
Chris,
absolutely
I would like to add that
it just caught my attention that the images presented on the occasion of his birthday didn't look like what we know, because we know he is an old man, quite old, but that picture was looking quite young, and I'm wondering how he can be looking that young there. Even makeup, I don't know whether makeup can make him look that young. Look at the image here in his celebration there. That image seems to
When
look
was,
different.
when was the last time you went
Comrade
to a
Chris,
funeral home and saw a dead person?
Comrade
Yeah,
Chris, these
Comrade
days you
Chris.
don't talk about pictures. Anything can happen with pictures, with a picture these days.
Anything.
Exactly.
Anything.
Anything. So you don't, yes,
This
that's
this
not. It's
this
not anything to lay any emphasis there. Yes, it's
that
not.
person could even be a double, could actually be a double, somebody that just looks like him or has had some kind of surgery to make his face look like him, or the videos and pictures have been doctored. It's possible with
Makeup.
certain
Uh,
software
uh,
to do to
Honorable Chris
you know.
Adua, there is makeup. A woman can make up and becomes like a man. They can do makeup. That's why I'm saying morticians can go there and put in powder on his face. Look at even the wife. Is that how the wife is looking? She is also younger there. Have you
Yeah,
seen her pictures lately?
where we know women make those makeups. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we have said these
But,
days the
but
doctor
let me get
pictures,
to
so it should
Chairman
not be an issue.
commenter. What do you make of this man's uh, 44 years in power?
Total disaster. Total disaster. The only good thing he has done is that he has helped us. Yes, he has helped the Southern Cameroons movement. Yes, yes, he has helped us to the nationalism in Southern Cameroon is thanks to his attitude. Yes, his intransigence. If he was somebody who would listen, would not be where we are today. When the lawyers and the teachers, I mean, Southern Cameroon, the SCNC had been complaining a long time ago. People have been arrested, bound for, especially who is in Kondengiri till today since 2018 with Siseko Tabe and the others. Yes, if Paul Biya had listened, if he had listened to the people and came to the real genuine dialogue, would not be where we are today. But because he has failed in everything he has done, he is a failure. The only thing, yes, we credit him because the Southern Cameroon's nationalism is thanks to his attitude, to his intransigence and intransigence of not only his, but of all the francophones of all our republic, because there's no day you see them. Did you ever hear anywhere that some people protested that, oh, what they are doing to Southern Cameroons is not correct? No. Yes. So when it comes to the table, you are that Anglo, you are that immediate enemy. Yes, yes. So the Francophones will team up together. Take even those who the Bamlikis who live, yes, especially them who live in, and the Bassas who live in Victoria, yes, the Bamlikis who are in the northern and southern zone everywhere. They contribute money to give to so that they should be killing us instead. So you see, all of the Southern Cameroonian, the Anglophone is it's the common enemy when it comes. Yes, it's the common enemy. So Biya has achieved nothing. Yes, he has achieved nothing for Cameroon. Yes, I don't. Yes, we cannot point to one thing he has achieved. No, we cannot, because even the presidency where he's living, yes, it was Ahijo who built it and not him. Yes.
Let me go to Honorable Chris. How will you evaluate these 44 years of Paul Biya?
I will evaluate it, Comrade Chris, by saying that when the world hears the number 44 years, or they hear about 44 years and they hear about Biya, that is not his age. The world should know that that is how long he has been in power. And if you want to
That's how long he
include
has
the
been
time,
president, not in power. That's how long he has
sorry,
been
yeah,
president.
let's say when he has been president, and you want
Yes, he was
thanks for that
president.
correction, commenter. And if you want to add the other years that he served under Ahijo, he has been doing this for more than 50 years, and nothing actually to show for it. I think when his epitaph is finally written, you should read that he was a total disaster for not only for the country but for the whole continent and possibly the world. The unfortunate thing about it is that whatever he does, the the international community turns a blind eye or a deaf ear to his activities. It's like nobody even mentioned that these things are happening, which is a great injustice, not only to the people of Ambazonia but also to the people of French Cameroon and its call it its allies or friends, and in fact, the whole world.
Bridal, let me turn to you. There are so many speculations as to what lies ahead. Biya addressed the so-called youths on the so-called National Youth Day. You were supposed to announce the date for their upcoming council and regional elections. He did not. Those elections were supposed to take place next month of March. He did not announce the date. He has not named a new cabinet since supposedly winning elections on October 12th last year. The picture looks very shaky, the political climate. What do you make of that? What do you make of that? What do you think is going on beneath the background in La République du Cameroon?
A couple of things. And when you say he addressed the youths, when you go back to the various state addresses that he made on the 5 previous youth days, I think just a juxtaposition of some of the words, but the entire addresses have been the same. So there is really nothing new that is telling the youths. How many of them are doing motorbike taxis in that country? How many of them have graduated in that country with no opportunity to engage in something that is worth the education that they achieve in those institutions? Look at even the average age there in Cameroon. 65% of the population is below 35 years old, but majority of the government positions are made up of octogenarians. And somebody is 55 years old, 50 years old, they still calling them a youth in Cameroon. So it is practically just something that is unheard of, that at 93, anybody is expecting that Biya is going to provide a vision for the youths, something that he has not been able to do for the past 43 or 44 years. So to me, the entire charade of doing this presidential address on the eve of every youth day is just for him to give false hope to the youth. Now, when you go and look at why is he not forming a government, you will understand that there is a war of factions internally within the CPDM regime. I think, I think strongly that is what is holding the announcement of the supposed new government. But if you've been following Biya for a long time, you would understand that he hardly places his trust on the youth. So even that government would either be a changing of positions of the same old goons who have been there for the past 20, 30 years. So it's not like he's going to do a complete overhaul of what is there now. So those people who are hoping that he's going to change anything, it's like asking him to change himself, which is something that he's not going to do. So there are so many challenges when it comes to postponing the municipal and parliamentary elections. I think it is obvious that the country is facing very tough financial conditions. So the country is almost going broke. So I think they're just trying to get a wiggle room to raise the money. And politically, they are looking at maybe at the local elections, because the opposition is now very popular, they might win at the local level because the votes will not be counted nationally. So those are two things that may be holding them or prompting them to postpone the elections: finance and politically, strategically, to allow people to the anger that has been inbuilt because of what happened in October, to give room so that they can still go in there and manipulate the results. So that is my take of the political situation currently in that country.
Chairman, what is your take on the situation? Chairman Comment Elvis.
Well, there is nothing that is going to change in that country. There's nothing that is going to change. We had said it that when Chiroma claimed, yes, when it was declared that Chiroma claimed he won the elections, I said it here that the only way for change to come in that country is for war, is only for a war to take place. Yes, because they own that country. All of them in the government, they believe they own that country, and I don't see anything changing. Yes, I don't see any. They will. They would. It's only war that will take. It's only bloodshed will send those people away. I don't expect anything to come out of it. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. As I said, I've said it. I said I don't expect anything positive to come out of that country. Those people who are in power, they are doing everything to stay there. They have amassed a lot of wealth, and they own the country. When it comes to yes, so the only thing to take them out of there is not through ballot boxes. We have seen that ballot box will never, it will never take any person. Yes, it will never work there. The only thing is for war. Is for war to come to that country. Sorry, lives will be lost, yes, but if change has to come through that, let the change come through war. Yes, lives will be lost, but the future generation will not go through what us are going through right now. In a country where there are no roads, no schools, no hospitals, nothing, no lights, no water, nothing. Yes, what is there? Social amenities, nothing, nothing. Yes, because if the farmers had the roads to bring their produce and sell, yes, if the roads are there, if there's water, there's electricity, people will not care who is president. People will not bother. But there is nothing absolutely in that country. The country has nothing to offer. The government does not offer any services to the people. They are only there to steal, and yes, they have their rich bank accounts. So it's a future very bleak if this has yes, if and only war would remove those people from there.
Chairman Chris Ajua, recently or earlier this month, the Trump administration extended the AGOA agreement or the free trade agreement with most African countries, but Cameroon was still left out. Now, you recall that I think it was 2019, Cameroon was suspended from aid with other sanctions when the war started. Cameroon was still left out of it this time, and could it be that Cameroon is still being sanctioned because of the rights abuses in the course of these 10 years of war?
That in itself could be a reason, but let's take a look at a recent statement from the U.S. Congress, where many lawmakers in America are now very openly saying that America should reevaluate their relationship with Cameroon. I think that position that the U.S. Congress took is very, very important.
That
And that could,
was late last year. Am I correct, or is it a very recent
Yeah,
one?
I think it was the one that came out like late last year. I think the last quarter
yes, after the
of last
election.
year.
Yeah, the one
Yes.
appealing for the extension of TPS for Cameroonians, I guess.
No, that one was different. That one is said very specifically that I think one of the senators even raised that point and made it as a policy, a congressional policy that the
Okay.
United States should reevaluate. They were really suggesting that the U.S. should reevaluate their relationship with the country Cameroon. Now, if just recently we have heard how even America is trying to evaluate its position with the AS countries. We're talking Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
And we know the relationship between France and the United States. France having been kicked out from those AES countries, that has taught America a lesson. America also is now re-evaluating their stance as far as the AES countries are concerned. Rather than taking a hard line to favor France, which has been kicked out, America is now finding a way to work with the AES countries in a manner that would be beneficial. Call it very practical and beneficial to both sides. And that in a way also, in a way, is tied to what we just said. Certain countries being removed or being kept in AGOA, while the Republic of Cameroon is still considered not qualified to be in it. That is how I look at it.
Brother, what's your thought on that?
I really am not reading too much into that. You and I, even Honorable Ajua, chairman here, we have gone to that Senate multiple times. A lot of these things, we've heard them. There is nothing new. These politicians, they will always tell you one thing and do something different. Cameroon is strategic when it comes to Central African sub-region because of the Gulf of Guinea, the security aspect of that region. So it's really not about the amount of imports or exports that are leaving Cameroon to the US. Besides, the AGOA covered mostly the oil. 90% of it was oil. How much oil is Cameroon even producing per day? It's about 65,000 barrels of oil that Cameroon is producing a day. That is nothing. It's completely insignificant. The trade between Cameroon and the US is what, in 2024, it was about, I think, $624 million. That's nothing. If Elon Musk alone can just say that should people 100 million, and that would be it. Really, it's nothing significant. So their interest in that region is on the Gulf of Guinea.
Yeah.
And as far as they are concerned, they are trying to avoid China and Russia from having a hold in that region. So that's strategic. It really has nothing to do about us. We can complain until their kingdom come, because you have been to that Senate. Honorable Ajua, you've been to that Senate. Honorable Kometa has been there in the early days. I think we have visited all of them. They said all of these things. So for me, there is really nothing new. I don't read too much into it.
There's nothing new, as Brado said. I don't expect anything. Even talk about AGOA. The U.S. still trains Cameroon, the soldiers and all of that. So I don't see we don't expect any changes. No. The government, yes, the Congress may write and talk, but it's all talk on paper. They still do go behind and do what they want to do. Yes, it's their interest and not it's their interest, U.S. interest.
And I mean, the Senate had passed the law to go after some of the Cameroon government officials because of the human rights situation. It has not changed. Have they enforced it since 2019 or 2020? Nothing.
Yeah, that is what I have described in my book as the hypocrisy of the West. The hypocrisy.
Comrade Chris, can I take a leave?
That is fine. That is fine. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay put in there. When we come back, we will open the phone lines to take your calls to know what is on your mind. Please stay put. Do not go away. I'll be right back.
The West lectures the world about democracy, then it bankrolls dictators. It condemns oppression, then it congratulates stolen elections. In this book, The Hypocrisy of the West, veteran journalist Chris Enu exposes the double standards that define modern global politics. From Africa to the Middle East and beyond, Western powers present themselves as champions of freedom, while quietly propping up tyranny in the name of stability and strategic interest. This book pulls back the curtain. Why dictators are rewarded after rigged elections. How human rights become optional when power is at stake. Why some wars provoke outrage and others silence. How selective justice shapes the global order. Written in a bold, direct, and uncompromising voice, The hypocrisy of the West is not a theory, it is a reckoning. It challenges official narratives, names uncomfortable truths, and forces readers to confront a world governed by convenience, not principle. You should read this book if you have ever questioned why some dictators are sanctioned while others are celebrated. Get your copy of The Hypocrisy of the West today on Amazon. Read it, question everything, then decide where you stand.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the book, The Hypocrisy of the West, will be officially launched on February the 28th, and invitations will be coming to all of you. That will be a virtual book launch. That is by way of Zoom. Again, that will be February the 28th. For the moment, we open the phone lines. If you have a contribution to make of all that we have discussed here with the panel, go ahead, call that number on your screen. But before you call, make sure you turn down the volume of your set. Make sure you turn down the volume of your set, whatever you are listening from, and focus on your phone so that there is no delay when you call. All right, so again, the phone line is open. Go ahead and call. We have only 5 minutes, 5 minutes for this segment of the show. All right, let me get back to my panel while waiting for your calls. But before I get back to my panel, let me make this appeal a little once more, ladies and gentlemen. For the past weeks, I have been coming to you and making an appeal for support to have ABS restored on satellite. As we come to you live at this moment, ABS isn't on the satellite yet because of financial constraints. We've been able to sustain ABS going for about 4 years now. Thanks to listeners like you, but at this moment, Ground Zero cannot watch it. They are not watching it. We've received tons of messages and calls from Ground Zero about their inability to receive the signals. And we keep telling them it will be back. It will be back. My appeal to all of you listening to the sound of my voice and watching to is, please, whatever you can donate to ABS to have it turned back on satellite will be very, very appreciative. Your $50, your $100, your $500, $1,000, it will turn back ABS back on satellite. You can use the number on your screen for any donation you want to make for ABS. That number is good for Zelle. It is also good for Cash App. Again, that number on your screen is good for Zelle and it is good for Cash App. And if you are in Canada or Europe and you really want to support this platform, please, you can get to the website, absafricatv.com, absafricatv.com, and on the top right of the website, you will see a donate button. You hit on that, it takes you to PayPal, and you'll be able to make a donation. You are very much appreciated as you join hands with us to make sure that what we are doing here registers the desired result. And the desired results are on Ground Zero. They are on Ground Zero. I explained here last week that the reason why we have to stay on satellite is because that is where our major audience is. On Ground Zero, people cannot afford unlimited data or network as we do in Europe and in America. At home, they pay as they go. And so if somebody pays, say, $1,000 into his phone and go and sit on internet watching us for 1 hour, I don't even think 1,000 francs. I don't even think 1,000 francs can get them watching YouTube for 30 minutes. I don't think so. So We facilitate this by making sure we get it on satellite once they have their satellite, which many people do. Millions. In fact, we learned that in all of Africa, ABS is in 90 million homes. 90 million homes. The calculation is done from those who are subscribers to the satellite that carries the channel. That is the advantage that we have. So please, again, my appeal to you tonight, support ABS. Use the number on your screen, make a Zelle payment or a Cash App payment. And if you want to use PayPal, just log on to the website, absafricatv.com. Hit the donate button on the top right side, and it will take you to PayPal, and you will make that donation. And if you make your donation while we are still live, text your receipt through WhatsApp using the same number so we can acknowledge you. Thank you for doing so. Let me get back to my panel. Chairman, let me start. I think Chairman is gone. Brado, let me start with you. He too is gone. I think. Oh no, he is there. I can see him. Brado, let me start with you. I know you are a very critical mind. What do you see of the future of La République du Cameroon in the next 6 months?
Thinks that is somebody who does things highly secretive. He's going to continue to have that aura of invincibility. So I think that he might just conduit the regime that he has in place of appointing new ministers. I don't really expect that much is going to change within the next 6 months. The political opposition has completely fizzled out. It is hard for me to see them regaining that political leverage that they had in the eve of all, immediately at the post-election situation that happened in the country. I think the opposition needs to regroup and strategize. But without doing that, if they're going to accept getting into any other elections, for me, there's really no reason to come out and be complaining about a system that you know the outcome, that there is no free, credible elections that can take place in that contraption called Cameroon at this time. So as far as Biya is concerned, the closest collaborators are going to continue to be tight-lipped as far as his state of health, his mental capacity to continue running a complex country with about 250 different tribes until it gets to a point where he probably might be put on a stretcher and taken to the mortuary before things could change in that country. So the fight between the camps is going to continue internally within TM. You also have opposition leaders that are waiting in the wings for an opportunity to also cash in the corrupt system. So do not be surprised that we might have one or two opposition leaders join the government that is being earmarked in the next future.
Honorable Chris, do you see Issa Chiroma returning to Cameroon and having any impact on the ground?
Well,
now let me
right now,
let me frame it this way. The wisdom behind the question is because we have heard of Chiroma going back to Cameroon, and now you have the council and regional elections delay, and the allegations out there that they are trying to dialogue. They are trying to negotiate with Issa Chiroma, which is why no cabinet changes, no election schedule. What is your take on that?
Yeah, Comrade Chris, I think up to now I really believe that it is some kind of impasse where they have found it very, it's like you play chess or you play draft and you get to that point where you are stuck, nobody wins. That impasse to me means that because Chiroma still has a very, even behind the scenes, a very strong impact in decision making in La Republique. The main thing that I think is happening is probably the puppet masters in France are trying to work out something between Biya and Chiroma, or how to totally ask Biya and his team to back down and allow Chiroma to form the government. I think that is what is going on. One of the two. They are actually trying to come to some kind of compromise, maybe a sharing of government positions with Chiroma having a top. I wouldn't really say a top one because the top one would be Biya anyway. Or they may also be knowing that Biya's condition is not really that good. We're talking health wise. Maybe he's also being asked to totally step down, and they are having a problem about how to maneuver their parliament and their senate and their constitution so that they can come up with something that is acceptable to the people and to the world. And of course, Chiroma is the wrench in the cog wheel. Those wheels cannot turn because Chiroma is having his wrench in there and is blocking them. I think that is what is going to happen. You were talking about 6 months from now. Cameroon is in a very precarious situation. They had their election last year. Up to now, we don't know what the different ministerial positions or persons are, and when Chiroma finally comes out again, and hopefully he does, it will either be peace. It will either be peace or it's going to be chaos. That's how I personally I look at it.
Honorable Agua, I think it's a fickle dream to really think and believe that Chiruma is going to or has some level of influence in what is going on in that country.
He told his
You
people
have
that he
to,
was not going
you
to
have to
betray them. That's what he said. He said he
hold
was not
on,
going to betray
hold
them.
on. Yes, what is the betrayal? What will you think that this guy has governed this way? Is it strange? Look at the history. The guy has always governed like this. It's not like somebody has gone for 10, 14 years, has not done any government reshufflement, has not held a meeting, and you think that because of 4 or 5 months he's not forming a government is because Chiruma is having an impact on them. No, they know what they are doing. When at the appropriate time, they are going to act. I don't think that Chiruma really plays into their equation because the fact that he left that country for this is going to 4 or 5 months today, they have lost the plot and the political leverage that they
Comrade
have on the
Tabenyan, we
ground.
don't know we don't know what
Hello.
Chiroma is planning. We're not in his mind. We're not in the mind of his supporters. I'm talking his inner circle. We're not in their mind, so we can't really tell what is happening. I think
True.
Chiroma still has some kind of effect, or
You
will still have some
But
effect
you
as
can
far
only
as
do that
the.
when you can only do that. What you're saying is true, but you can only also do that when you have the political leverage on the ground. Do you think that Chiruma can go into that country or even from where he is now and call for a nationwide strike and people are going to respond to it? Has he done that? The answer is no. Do you think that he's just going to walk in there and those hawks and the wolves in the CPDM, the camps that have been built in? It's really not about Biya. If you look at that country now, it is the camps that are inbuilt within the CPDM crime syndicate. So for me, if Chiruma comes back and accept to even take a position in that government. It goes to just say that he is a turncoat politician. He did that in 1992. It's not the first time that he has done that. How would he absorb himself if he goes back and take a position that is not the supreme magistrate of that country? Is going to confirm that all along he has been playing this game and he has been in bed with the regime. So that is a
Well,
very difficult
if he
by
does that,
himself.
that would be a big betrayal. It means he has not kept his word. You know, personally, if I were him, I wouldn't take a position in the government.
That's the point.
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Go on. Where are you calling from?
I am calling from Ground Zero.
Okay, and what is on your mind, sir?
We are so bothered we don't have your channel. We can't watch you on TV, and it's worrying. Watching you on the internet is very costful here. So please, I don't know. We don't have the ways that we can donate our own money to support so that we should stay on satellite because we are really missing you here on Ground Zero.
Yeah, unfortunately, back from home, I don't know what we can do as far as donations are concerned. You guys don't have PayPal there, and we don't have your mobile money here either. So, not really much we can do for donations from Ground Zero. Where on the ground are you? What town or city?
I am in Douala. I'm in Douala.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes,
What else do you have on your mind?
We are just only waiting the election that we carried out here, and as the president-elect Chiruma has denied to go in for the election, so everybody is just having dying spirit concerning the elections.
How about Kamto? Kamto says he is going in for the elections, right? He's campaigning, right? People are not supporting him.
Yes, his party members are seriously going on political rallies to see that they should have some seat in the parliament and in the council. But I don't think that the election is really necessary because the main opposition party is not in, so it's giving some question mark.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the call, sir. You remain safe out there.
So we really like to see you on TV. We are missing you here.
We will do everything to get it back on. Thank you. All right. Honorable Chris, you were trying to make a point. Quickly, we're going to call it other night.
Actually, the point that I made finally was that if I were Issa Chiroma and I'm being coerced for any reason to join the government, I wouldn't do it because that in itself it's a betrayal of his party and his supporters. Yeah. Unfortunately, if he comes back, if he actually decides to come back to La République du Cameroon, the only thing that I can see from that is total chaos. I'm talking like some kind of a civil disturbance, and possibly even the military splitting up, and the people there are different regions breaking up and start some kind of a very serious civil disorder, including even a war.
I think the only moment he would want to return to Cameroon would be when you would have reached an agreement with the regime. He cannot just walk back and say, "All right, let me go back to my country."
And if he does that, the regime is not going to say, "Come on in and come and take over."
Of
That is
course,
clear.
but then he would have pre-negotiated, right, from where he is to return.
Well, don't forget that Barrow had indicated that they were going to engage with the regional powers to try to address the political impasse in Cameroon. Maybe they are doing that. But if you look at what Kamto is doing exactly what Chiruma did to him in 2018. And that is why it's very difficult for you to have a coherent opposition in that country. Because in 2018, Kamto also was in this position that Chiruma finds himself. And Kamto decided that I'm not going to go in for the election. But Chiruma and his other cohorts, they participated in the charade, and here we go again. So it's like deja vu in the whole mess that happens in that country. Whether it's within the opposition with 10 code politicians doing what they have to do for their own self-interest, or the entrenched government that practically doesn't care about the sufferings of the people.
Tabinya, the regional powers you are talking about, most of them are what you call French-speaking countries, and even if you carry out an extension into the African Union, France has a very strong, say within the. I mean, France and the EU have a very strong says in within the African Union. Even some of the top positions, like the various commissions, I think they are either held by officials from French colonies, or let's just say European colonies. It really, whatever they decide in there, I don't think the Central African powers are going to come up with a decision that is not favorable to Biya. Remember,
You are quite on point, because even in that Central African sub-region, look at the Ekan, the Bulus. They are in Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, even an extension of Central African Republic, Congo. So Biya has a lot of leverage in the Central African sub-region. Whatever Adama Barrow was talking about negotiating with the regional leaders, Nigeria, for example, that has a stake in Cameroon, considering its own internal contradictions with the Biafra thing and the Boko Haram in the north. So you would see that at this moment, it is Biya has some kind of advantage in the sub-region more than Chiruba.
All right, gentlemen, I think we are going to call it a night here. Thank you for joining me. We look forward to having you again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it a night here. Again, I'd like to appeal to you to support ABS to get reconnected on satellite, so that people on the ground can gain from the education that panels like this one bring on. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to being back here tomorrow, only by God's grace. Stay tuned on ABS.
The West lectures the world about democracy, then it bankrolls dictators. It condemns oppression, then it congratulates stolen elections. In this book, The Hypocrisy of the West, veteran journalist Chris Enu exposes the double standards that define modern global politics. From Africa to the Middle East and beyond, Western powers present themselves as champions of freedom, while quietly propping up tyranny in the name of stability and strategic interest. This book pulls back the curtain. Why dictators are rewarded after rigged elections. How human rights become optional when power is at stake. Why some wars provoke outrage and others silence. How selective justice shapes the global order. Written in a bold, direct, and uncompromising voice, The Hypocrisy of the West is not a theory, it is a reckoning. It challenges official narratives, names uncomfortable truths, and forces readers to confront a world governed by convenience, not principle. You should read this book if you have ever questioned why some dictators are sanctioned while others are celebrated. Get your copy of The Hypocrisy of the West today on Amazon. Read it, question everything, then decide where you stand.